Okay, hello everyone and welcome back to World of Tanks Blitz. We're here going to be doing a review of the very fun heavy tank, the KV-220T. I think it's probably one of the funnest heavy tanks in the game to play just because of the armour of this thing. That's really the main point of this thing, and I will preface this by saying if you can get the tank, do get the tank, because it is absolutely incredibly fun to play. It is a very, very fun tank to just beat up tier 5s and some tier 6s in, because it's just such a ridiculous tank at this tier. So we'll start out, look at the stats, look at the HP. 800 HP, which is not overly a lot. It's not as much as the Churchill 3. I think, what's the KV-1 got? Slightly more than the, well, it's actually a lot more than the KV-1. It's sort of on par with Churchill's, which actually is a lot of HP. 700 HP for the Churchill 1. Churchill 3 has got a lot of health for being a tier 5 heavy. Even more health than this thing, and this thing, that's a fair amount of health. 750 for the T14. It's got a lot of HP for this tier, and that's a good thing. You can survive long. Having a big HP pool is always good. The armour, however, 90 frontal turret, 75 side and rear, 100 front, 100 side, 80 rear hull. It is ridiculous, especially when people don't know what to do about you, because that's 100 mil at the front and side of the hull. And considering something like the Panzer IV, this is a hydro stat, but I do have the normal Panzer IV, here you go. These things have got 110 mils of pen. This thing has got how much pen? 106 pen on its regular AP. Something like the T14, that's got 106 mils of pen with this short little 75 mil gun. This thing's got, 110. T34's got 125. Yeah, 125 with the 76. Same with the Chinukai. There's not a lot of things that will easily be able to get through your armour at range, especially. 120 for the 85 mil on the KV-1. The only things that will really cause you problems are things like tank destroyers, such as, the Nightmare does have 104 mils of pen on its heat, so it can get through you at any range, but if you angle up a little bit, very easy to bounce heat shells from this thing. At range you are impervious to most things. Leos, everyone hates Leos. Leos with those autoloaders, if they get even half their mag in, that's still 150 damage in a burst. If they get all mag in, it's like 250. It's a lot of damage very quickly with Leos, and they're very annoying. But in this thing, the Leos don't know what to do. They will just bounce all 250 damage off of your armour at any range and any distance, pretty much. There's not much they can do. If we just have a quick look at that 30mm autocannon on the Leo versus the armour on this thing. Where are we? Leo. There you go. Tier 5, 30mm MK103 gun. 80 mils of average pen with AP. 110 mils of pen with APCR. It's really, there's not much they can do, because they can't get through your frontal turret, they can't get through your frontal hull, they can't get through your side hull, they can't get through your rear hull. They can just about, at point blank range, the same with your turret. They can just about at point blank range get through your side and rear of your turret with regular AP. That is just crazy, because you are just impervious to all Leos. It's just free bounces. It's free steel walls if Leos start shooting at you. There's not many tanks which can reliably kill this thing at any sort of range, other than tank destroyers. I think the only one that may give you problems is a BDR, G1B, with this 90mm, which has got 135 mils of average pen, which can get through you at medium to close range. But otherwise, you're pretty impervious. It's fantastically good armour. The only thing that really comes close to it is the Churchill, and the Churchill's only got 152 on this area of the front of the hull. That's the only place it's 152. The rest of it is, I don't know, not that much. It's probably something like 75 mils or something at the front otherwise. It's only that bit which is really thickest. And something like the KV-1 is a pretty thick tank to try and get through. It's got pretty good armour, but it's only 75 mils at the front of the hull, 57 side and rear, 110 all round the turret. Turret is stronger. The KV-220 has basically got a stock KV-1 turret. But, you know, it's just amazing armour. You will get a lot of bounces, because it is just a KV-3 hull with a KV-1 turret stuck on, a stock KV-1 turret and a stock KV-1 gun. You don't have particularly good view range, 238 metres view range, and your mobility is not great either. 22 average speed, kilometres per hour, you've only got a 10.8 power to weight ratio, 23 for both the turret and hull traverse. It's not a particularly mobile tank. 669 engine power, and that's with improved control. You know, if I changed it to engine accelerator, we'd get more engine power, but you know, get better engine power, better power to weight, slightly better average speed, but still it's not mobile. It is not mobile at all. The KV-1, we have a look at the KV-1. There you go. 20 degrees turret, 30 degrees hull, 10.7 power to weight. Yeah, same-ish average speed. It is comparable to a KV-1 in terms of mobility, but the hull traverse is the big weakness. The hull traverse is very, very slow. However, it doesn't really matter that much because you've got 100 mils of side armour. You know, I've bounced all sorts of tanks that I didn't think I'd be able to bounce just in this tank, just because that frontal armour is just so ridiculous on a tier 5 tank. You know, something like the KV-3 has got comparable hull armour, and that's tier 7. You know, there's the KV-3. It's basically the same hull, except it's got better frontal hull armour. Yeah, 165. It's got even better frontal hull armour, but you know, look, it is the same hull. They've taken off some of the armour off the front, but even so, it's still very, very good armour on this thing. It is just ridiculous and fun. There's a couple of replays on my channel where I'm in a 1v3 situation, and I just completely stomp over them, even in a 1v3 situation. It is just very easy to win those sorts of confrontations when you're in a KV-220, because it's just so ridiculous. But the gun, however, is pretty average. It's a 76mm ZIS-5, 0.38 accuracy, horribly inaccurate. 4.3 second aim time is not too bad. It's getting up there in terms of aim time, but it's not too bad. It's really the dispersion which is the problem. 6.77 second reload, 110 average pen with AP, 145 with APCR, 20 with HE, 160 average damage with AP, 135 with APCR, and 200 with HE. 8 degrees of gun depression. Yeah, it's a pretty standard gun. Yeah, pretty inaccurate. Not that great average pen. It's sort of average for this tier, but then that's not saying much. You've got the same amount of pen as a Panzer IV, which doesn't have a lot of pen really for a medium tank at this tier. So you know, the only things that really are worse than you in terms of pen is something like the T14 or the EZ4 Sherman. Otherwise, all of these tanks, even the Type T34 has got better pen than you. Yeah, something like the Sherman 5, for example, that's got 106 mils of pen with that short 75. They're the only things that are really worse than you, are the short 75 mils for the Americans, or if the stock 76mm guns on something like a T34 or a KV-1. They're the only things that really are worse than you, so you don't really have that much pen. You're pretty inaccurate. You have pretty standard average damage, however, but then that's not saying much. Yeah, it's overall not particularly a great gun, but the tank itself is very, very fun, very good. Don't forget that stats are also including my provisions, because you know, collector's tank, I can afford to have provisions on this thing, so I might as well go bung them on. And you know, that's still 23 degrees of hull traverse with improved fuel and condensed milk. So without them, it's going to be like an 18 degrees of hull traverse, which is absolutely terrible. But again, that's kind of mitigated because you have 100 mils of side armour. And tanks will very often bounce off your sides. Tier 4s just are completely unable to deal with this thing without using premium ammo, and even then it's not guaranteed to get through this tank at range. It is just such a ridiculous tank, and you should definitely pick it up where you can. So there's the stats. Of course, you've got your standard repair, first aid, fire. You've got your engine power boost, 20% to engine power, 15 seconds, and then your adrenaline for the 20% to load speed and 10% chance of damaging enemy vehicle modules, 15 seconds. Then you've got your multi-purpose. You've got your provisions. You've of course got standard fuel for 3% to crew mastery, condensed milk, sorry. And then you've got standard fuel for 3% to engine power and turret traverse. And I highly suggest throwing both of those on. You do get enough credits back that it won't set you back even if you do have a bad game, because it's a hybrid premium, non-premium. They're funny, these collector's tanks. They're not as good as premiums, but they're not as bad as tech tree tanks in terms of credit efficiency and XP efficiency, but even so, you can still go ahead bung these on, and I suggest that you do, and then of course you can always go ahead and mount your protective kit, but I think honestly condensed milk with standard fuel is far more beneficial to this tank than protective kit. You do carry 120 rounds of ammo, which is a lot of ammo, and you're not likely to run out of it this time. So you can go ahead and mix those up as you wish. I suggest carrying around a decent amount of APCR, because if you come up against another one of these things, you're going to be struggling if you've only loaded AP. And, you know, everyone has a small stock of APCR or premium ammo for when they need it in dire circumstances. So, yeah, you can go ahead and mix them up as you want. As for equipment, I'd say gun rammer. Like I said, you don't really have particularly great pen, but then there's a lot of tanks at this tier which have got the same pen, so you might as well go with gun rammer. Improved modules for the extra track durability, because your tracks do cover up a large amount of your hull. Your hull is very long, it doesn't have particularly good camo because of how big it is, but your tracks will eat a bunch of shots, especially from the side, so you might as well go with this for the extra track durability. And then coated optics get your terrible view range to be not quite so terrible. You are a heavy tank, and I do mean a heavy tank. If you're not at the front, you're doing it wrong in this tank, so don't go with camo net. If I see you running this tank with camo net, I will kill you. And then you're going to want enhanced gun lane drive for the extra, get that aim time down. Otherwise it would be about 5 seconds or something, which is absolutely terrible. So definitely go with enhanced gun lane drive. Enhanced armour, definitely as well. You have got very, very strong armour, as I keep on saying, especially at tier 5. So you're going to want enhanced armour for the extra hull and hull and turret armour. It is very beneficial on this tank. Then I would say actually engine accelerator, get that hull traverse up. It doesn't go up quite as much as improved control, but it does still go up to above 23 degrees per second, and you do get the extra power to weight and engine power, and the slightly better average top speed. So I'd say engine accelerator is the better choice here. Definitely refined gun. Get it down from 0.44 or 0.43 by the looks of it to something like 0.38, which is still terribly inaccurate, but it is still better than something like 0.43, which is absolutely terrible. And then again, definitely enhanced tracks over toolbox, I say, because yeah, your tracks will eat a lot of shots. There's not a lot of tanks at this tier which can reliably hit your tracks, detract you, and do damage at the same time. So it'll either damage your track or destroy your track, but it won't do damage at this tier, because not a lot of guns have got that super high penetration to just be able to blast straight through your track and do damage as well, with the remaining amount of pen, especially again with the amount of armour you have. So enhanced tracks for the extra, again, more suspension HP, but then also when they get blown off, if you don't spend a repair kit, they'll just repair back up to full anyway. So you might as well go with enhanced tracks, and then your choice of whatever the hell those two things are. So overall, KV-220, absolutely great fun. It is an absolute monster at this tier. Not a lot of people know how to deal with this tank, and if you play it absolutely stupid, like you've just joined the game, you don't know anything about tanks, you don't know anything about angling, even if you point your front straight to the enemy and just start shooting, there's a good chance you'll come away with very little damage. It just has got such ridiculous armour, even against tier 6s. Tier 4s, you're pretty impervious to. A lot of tanks at this tier, you're pretty impervious to, unless they get to your sides or rear and start circling, or they have incredibly high penetration guns. But even at tier 6, there's a lot of things that just will struggle to deal with you just because you have got that good armour, and it is absolutely great fun to play. Just stomping on all the other tier 5s and some tier 6s, it's just glorious fun. But yeah, so there you go. KV-220 T. I'll thank you all for watching, and goodbye.